The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Morning Market Kickoff with your host, Tommy O'Brien. Now, Tommy O'Brien.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Tommy O'Brien, coming to you live from TFNN Friday morning, 8:30 a.m., 60 minutes to go until the opening bell, and we got markets pretty calm to kick things off. That's not necessarily where the day will end. We get quad witching. We get S&P additions to the tune of Tesla coming into the S&P, potentially the sixth largest company in the S&P 500. We'll jump over to Tesla in a moment. The day of reckoning Monday morning. That means if you're a benchmarked fund to the S&P, you're going to be coming in towards the end of the day, right towards the end of the day, really, to make sure that you're not getting volatility. You're supposed to track the S&P, right? Well, the S&P is going to incorporate Tesla as of Monday morning. The S&P does not incorporate Tesla as of today. You can't get ahead of the action. We'll jump right over to Tesla right away. Why not? Look at this, 666, folks. Watch out. Oh, boy. $666. Tesla coming in with an hour to go until the opening bell. Some context on the daily. How about it? Record highs coming into the day. We'll talk a little bit more about this during the next segment as well. But what I find myself trying to wrap my head around, right, folks, is the idea that you go from 400 to 666, let alone you go from the price tag of about 270, which was Tesla announcing a 5-for-1 stock split. Now, folks, 5-for-1. Right now, Tesla will be trading at $3,275. I repeat, $3,275. Remember the days, this is pre-split, of course, remember the days that Elon said he's taking Tesla private at 420 and the world laughed him off and he almost got in trouble from the SEC? Because it was so ridiculous that he would be taking it private at 420. Well, as of today, that stock would be trading at $3,275, folks. Keep it in context right now for the action. Now, what happens here, right? I try and wrap my head around how this affects the market. Because you should, too, on a day like today, last real Friday of the year. Next Friday, Christmas, and the Friday after that, January 1st, 2021. So, who will be buying Tesla towards the end of the day today? Any benchmarked fund to the tune of trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars. Who's going to be selling those funds Tesla? Potentially the people bidding it up ahead of the forced demand buying that we're going to see that we've maybe never seen before. Folks, I mean, you jump around. We pull up the market watch when you jump to the Thinkorswim platform, the heat map. Love this thing when you really get a context of how big certain companies are within certain indices. You jump to the NASDAQ 100, folks. Pay attention to the big ones in here. Tesla, how about a market cap of $621 billion as you kick things off, okay? You jump to the S&P 500. Now, Tesla is in the NASDAQ 100, not yet a part of the S&P 500, okay? You jump to the S&P 500, and you're going to see that Tesla's going to join this. Well, Visa's 465 for some context, okay? NVIDIA's 330. We just saw Tesla's going to come in about 621. Facebook is about 781. So Tesla's going to have a slightly smaller heat map presence than Facebook. But when you come in such a mammoth way, folks, okay, so there's going to be all this forced demand buying that's going to have to come into this equity at the end of the day. And what I find myself saying is that normally what would happen, folks, in normal times is that buying, the market will factor in that if things get too out of whack, right, if the price goes too high because of that forced buying, market participants will come in and they will sell, which I think you will see in mammoth order. What I wanted to bring about to wrap your head around is that as Tesla potentially falls even, okay, what happens if the only people buying are the funds that everybody knows is going to be buying, and meanwhile you have people trying to exit and take money off the table that they've made in trades? I find it hard to believe where's going to be the limit where buyers come in and say, hold on a second, there's a reasonable level that Tesla should not fall below. We've crossed all paths where I don't know who is going to be buying Tesla on a day like today for an investment, because if you were going to buy Tesla for an investment, you would already own it ahead of the forced buying coming in. So if Tesla begins to slide, right, it would be a perfect case of buy the rumor, sell the news, right? You buy the lead up, you sell the news. You bought the volatility up until the election, and the moment the election happens, you sell it because volatility gets sucked out. It's going to be interesting to see what happens, but when you think about where reasonable might be, if you weren't already, would you ever be getting into this equity towards the end of the day today and trying to fight with trillions of dollars of benchmarking that's going to be forced to buy it? No, you would never come in towards the end of the day as an investor and try and fight with the bank, the mutual funds and the funds of all sorts. So therefore, you're already in this equity. So what happens if this starts to slide? And everybody knows that demand's coming. So guess what? Sellers think, I'm going to be able to sell out at this thing at the end of the day. We'll see if we get a pop maybe. It's going over the trader mentality. And if we don't, I'll sell out. There's going to be plenty of sellers that have had this stock from anywhere in our prior history because we're at an all-time high. Anytime you own Tesla in the past, today, you've made money because you're at an all-time high. So what happens if Tesla begins to actually fall towards the end of the day? I don't know. Just something to think about. I find my head doing gymnastics about this one and how we end, but we're going to find out at 3 o'clock today with Tesla getting added to the S&P 500. All right, jumping through the indices, we got the Dow in negative territory. Check out that channel line, right, that I got there in the Dow on the daily, putting it on a little 15-minute. Last night, we were down to lows at about midnight in the Dow, 30,081. You rise to 30,260. All the markets at about highs at 4 in the morning. We're currently trading 30,178 right now. The Russell positive by 1 point at 1978. Bitcoin 22,970, holding up pretty well at all-time highs, just near those all-time highs yesterday. Crude 48 handle, 48.58 right now, up 4 pennies. Natural gas is up 4 cents at 267. We saw the drop off yesterday on some of their inventories. Gold holding pretty steady right near 1900. Right now, you're technically positive $3 on the session at 1893. You're up about $10 from where you were just trading at about 6:30 in the morning. Silver's flat after quite the acceleration this week. Check out that, right? We start the week, well, yeah, we actually made it to, what's our low there? 23.75 about, and we're trading at 26.18 right now in silver. Notes and bonds, pretty muted action, quite the volatility we had yesterday. Of course, it's Fed week. You see the volatility we had for the Fed. Chairman Powell coming on. You saw a spike lower and it comes back. Yesterday, you saw a spike higher and it comes back. We're right where we started, 137.28 in the 10-year, and we'll jump over to that volatility index. Be interesting to see what we see happen today, folks. We've never seen an event like this, like I talk about it, which is why I spent some time on Tesla. This is stuff, I love fundamentals. I always talk about in my newsletter. I keep it pretty simple, folks. I like channel lines. Man, Bud Rolfs, throw out a kudos to him and a mention. King of the channels, Channel King. Channel lines, Fibonacci lines, support and resistance, trends. You throw in some fundamental nature of it. It's really remarkable then that we all know. There's not many times that folks, that trillions of dollars are going to be forced to buy this equity within the last hour almost of trading today to make sure that they get it as close as they can to the close today. Because we know how Tesla can move. What if it moves 5% in the last 15 minutes and you already bought it or sold it? You're not going to be at that benchmark. We'll see what happens. Stay tuned, folks. We're going to go over earnings. We got FedEx last night. Lots of time.
Hi, folks. This is Tom O'Brien. Are you looking to buy or sell gold, silver, platinum, coins, or bullion? We can help. At Tiger Precious Metals and Stones, we specialize in the buying and selling of gold, silver, as well as collectible U.S. and foreign coins. We not only buy your unwanted or broken jewelry, but you can trade that in for gold and silver coins, too. Call Andy now at 727-329-8245 for a quote over the phone and to lock in the current market price. Call us now at 727-329-8245.
TFNN has just launched our Tiger Dollar Holiday Sale. For a limited time, we've doubled all the Tiger Dollar bonuses, where you can now get up to a 20, 30, or even a 40% bonus on your Tiger Dollar purchase. Tiger Dollars are good for all TFNN newsletters, webinars, and services and never expire. Whether you're a current subscriber or just thinking of signing up for any TFNN products in the future, this is a great time to get your Tiger Dollars. Happy holidays from all of us at TFNN.
Hi, folks. This is Tom O'Brien. The printing presses are working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The U.S. deficit has risen 200% in 1 year with no end in sight. The markets are looking for an additional stimulus bill to get us through this once-in-a-generation pandemic. There is no free lunch, folks. The more stimulus dollars put into the marketplace, the less your dollar is worth each and every day. This is the time to protect yourself with a portion of your portfolio in the metal market. The Gold Report comes out each Monday morning. I bisect and dissect the dollar, silver, gold, the XAU, and the HUI. The Gold Report is a long-term hedge against the dilution of your buying power. The U.S. has put more than $6 trillion into the marketplace in the last 6 months, with more expected in the next few months. The market did and does need the stimulus, but it will have long-term implications on our buying power. The Gold Report comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Go to TFNN.com and order the Gold Report now. Protect your buying power. Order the Gold Report now.
Are China A-shares hot or not? If you trade China A-shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A-share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A-shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foresight Fund Services, LLC.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
Welcome back, folks. Right now, we got the S&Ps positive by 3 points, trading at 37.15. You see the action we had yesterday. We trade lower overnight, dip below the lows we had intraday in the S&Ps, made it to a low of right about 3,700. You trade up 23 points. Pretty strong overnight session considering everything we got going on. Volatility. We got record numbers of cases, folks. We're approaching 250,000 cases of COVID-19 on a daily basis. I heard a statistic on Bloomberg earlier today that just last week, 1 out of 200 Americans contracted this virus because we are spiking at such harsh levels. This morning, 8 a.m. Eastern time, before I came on the air, Vice President Pence, the second lady, his wife, getting vaccinated live on TV. Kudos to them. That's what has to be done, setting the example. I believe Dr. Fauci is going to be vaccinated next week. I believe you'll see President-elect Biden, Vice President-elect Harris, they will get vaccinated as well. And I plan on doing it as well, folks. We got to do our part. We got to get over this thing. Got to believe in science to overcome this hump. And I'm going to get it done. I'm going to see if I can put it out on TFNN the same way. Try and give that information a good light. Because unfortunately, we're going to have millions and millions, hundreds of millions potentially of people vaccinated. And we all know how the internet works. There's going to be anecdotal stories, whether true or not, that are going to persist. And I encourage you to push back against those stories in the name of science and getting things back to normal. That's what I plan on doing. And with that, we'll jump to the story that made me talk about it. CVS Health Walgreens to start provide COVID vaccines at thousands of hard-hitting nursing homes. So there was a story out there earlier there. When you talk about, I mean, we're going to come into the spring, they're going to have vaccines just like at the flu available. Walgreens, CVS, it's coming, folks. And they're already coming out to the health workers out there, which is so important, frontline responders. And we'll go from there. And from there, COVID relief, Congress. We'll see what happens, folks. Government potentially shutting down over the weekend as the funding deal is through today. They won't necessarily be able to extend that. Not the end of the world usually. If you get things repaired by Monday, since a lot of what happens there can be a short reprieve, as in the weekend, not a big deal. A lot of places for the government shut down on the weekends in some capacity. Nonetheless, they still got to get it done. They got to cross the T's, dot the I's, and man, so many times there's been sticking details on this relief plan. If that does not get done, folks, watch out. And even if it does get done, I mean, look where we're sitting here. It's a rocket ship to the upside of 37.17, and we started the year at 32.36. We've added 500 in S&P points for the calendar year 2020, and that is after having a pretty banner year in 2018, right? Now, we had the pullback towards, 2019. We had the pullback to end 2018. 2019, you go from 2,500 to 3,200, 700 points we added, and we're going to be up potentially 15% in 2020 with everything going on. Well, it makes sense when you realize the market's looking to the later part of next year, but it's also looking to the fact that we keep getting news from our elected officials on both sides that this deal is coming. So I hope that it does, because the market is not going to like it if it doesn't. All right, let's jump around to what else we got going on this morning. The FDA panel endorses second COVID vaccine in the U.S. Moderna, they got a path to emergency use. So I think this morning out here, I heard on Bloomberg as well, you got the president talking about it. You get the FDA saying, hold on a second, it's actually not approved yet. Just the panel of experts have endorsed it. It probably will be approved in the next 24 hours for emergency use. Nonetheless, that's coming down the pipeline in a big way as we get ready for vaccinations across the board, with a second one, the Moderna one, able to be stored a little bit more easily, not as quite the cold storage effort that's required within the Pfizer. All right, how about this story I thought interesting? I'm a fan of both these brands. Dick's Sporting Goods is teaming with Instacart for same-day delivery at 150 stores amid last-minute holiday crunch. If you listen to the program, folks, I just got turned on to Instacart about 3 weeks ago, and I'm a fan. Time is valuable. Grocery shopping is a time-consuming effort, especially when you have a family. You get out there, it's an hour a trip basically. I've now made 10 transactions on the Instacart, and they try and tell you that because they know how valuable people see time, that I've saved 10 hours. Every time you order on Instacart, I just made my 10th order yesterday, they say, you've saved 10 hours by shopping with Instacart. It's kind of true. I said, man, that's a lot of time. As I sit on there, it's going to be a lot of time. You're paying for that, okay? Each product a little bit more expensive, along with fees. You can pay $99 for Instacart, and you get a free delivery. So you're still paying for, of course, a tip for the driver, and tip those drivers well, folks. They're out there. They're running around food during a period where we got pandemics spiking, doing their part during the holidays. And then you pay a slightly higher fee for each product, but I found it interesting because they're not I just use them for Publix in Florida, but they have 7-Eleven. They have all these on there I have not used, and now they're going to have Dick's Sporting Goods. And you see how there's a merging here. Dick's had already been doing great work. I talked about early on in the pandemic where I ordered sneakers, picked them up. It was kind of like picking up an Outback order, and now that seems so normal. But in March and April, it was something that they changed so quickly, and now you see it, that they don't need the deliveries themselves. They don't need to compete with Amazon. Guess what they're going to do? They're going to team up with Instacart, and Dick's Sporting Goods is going to be able to drop sneakers at your door. Now, here's the thing. Instacart, they deliver Publix within 2 hours. Okay, Amazon does not have products that get delivered within 2 hours in most places, folks. Yes, I know it exists, okay? But in most places, they do not. You're actually going to see potentially Dick's Sporting Goods get a leg up on the delivery process by using Instacart. Now, what kind of margins are you going to end up paying for that, right? Are you going to pay a more expensive price? But, man, when you start talking about goods getting delivered to your door within 60 minutes potentially, 90 minutes, 120 minutes, that's a big one. That's a big one. I really think so. And what is Dick's? DKS? Yes, it is. So we're a little bit higher on that news, but we're higher with the market, 52.75 up to about 53.50. Jumping around to some of my favorite stocks, taking a look at Disney. Pretty calm action after the huge acceleration it's had from the beginning of November. Speaking of ride-hailing food delivery, Uber shares up a bit as well after pulling back after the run it's had. You had, of course, Dash. These companies pulling back a bit from a little bit of the hysteria. Does that get us all the way back? No, it doesn't. Yeah, you got to go back a couple weeks almost. That's a trending downward, folks. DoorDash, checking out, the valuations, and I wrote this in my newsletter earlier in the week. DoorDash is at about $50 billion right now, folks. Uber, I think it's at about $90 billion. It was the last time I checked. $89.7 billion. I would rather own Uber at $90 billion than own DoorDash at $50 billion. Okay, they're in a competing business when you're talking about the food delivery, but DoorDash has no capacity for ride sharing at all, something that is it changed the way that we live. And meanwhile, you have Uber, who's a huge presence in DoorDash's business, which is food delivery, And then they have the whole ride-sharing business to go with it. And you're telling me that Uber's only worth $90 billion and DoorDash is worth $50? I don't see those two coinciding. Even you combine it, you throw over to Lyft now. Lyft, no real food delivery business. They're going to try and get into that business in a little bit of a different way. But Lyft, you go down, only talking about $15 billion. And DoorDash is $50 billion, okay? And I get that. I do get that because Lyft is far behind the curve when you look at it. But, man, there's some divergences there of how those valuations are playing out. And you're seeing, I think it was Citron, right, came out and said DoorDash. I believe what they said, one of the quotes was that some of their peers are trading at, and I'm ballparking, I'm remembering 3 to 6 times sales, something maybe 3 to 6 times earnings. And DoorDash is trading at like 19 times that number. Just kind of silliness. Airbnb, actually popping from the lows after trading lower there. I want to talk about a valuation, folks. And we're going to go over FedEx after this. $91 billion for Airbnb. They are a juggernaut. Stay tuned, folks. We're going to pull up FedEx. They're a little bit lower after their earnings last night. We'll go else. What else we have on Friday? Come on.
Back in the day, I joined Hotel California in 2006, and like many of you, was drawn in by, as well as...
Whatever you think about, you bring about. Whatever you focus on grows.
You see, I believe that everything in life happens for us, not to us. And Tom ignited the fire within me to want to learn how to master the markets. So how did I go from knowing nothing about technical analysis to becoming the #1 market timer for the S&P 500 in 2018 and the #2 market timer in 2019? Simply put, I hired coaches with a proven track record, which led me to a whole new set of tools that I created to interpret the message of buyers and sellers. I would love the opportunity to teach you this award-winning set of tools and help you improve your market timing. You can test drive my newsletter service, Mastering Probabilities, for the next 30 days with no risk to you. Plus, you'll gain access to archive workshops that'll take you step-by-step through my system. Sign up today by going to the homepage of TFNN.com and selecting Mastering Probability in the newsletter tab. Bam!
If you haven't checked out the newsletters page of TFNN.com, what are you waiting for? All of the TFNN newsletters are informative, up-to-date, affordable, and a must-have for every trader looking to gain a competitive informational edge in today's markets. TFNN newsletters cover every aspect of the markets to offer you the very latest in market news. Plus, new subscribers get to test drive our newsletters risk-free for 30 days. From all aspects of the markets, including stocks, bonds, metals, commodities, and tech, there's a newsletter to fit your needs exclusively from TFNN. Stay informed each day you trade and get that competitive edge that will help you stay ahead of the game. Visit our newsletters page by going to TFNN.com and click the newsletters button near the top of the page. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Introducing Primal Edge.
Today, it's even more important to take a supplement that complements your health. Primal Edge is specifically formulated to boost your immune system and help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Our early ancestors found all their nutritional requirements in the wild environment. But today, our food sources don't contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients that we need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based, vitamins, minerals, fatty and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated humic and fulvic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They've been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, without them, life cannot exist.
That's right, Ellen. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, just $89, exclusively at TFNN.com.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
Welcome back, folks. We have the S&P is positive by 2, NASDAQ positive by 24, the Dow, the only major index right now, in the negative, minus 16 points, and the Russell positive by 2. Jumping over to FedEx, their numbers, pretty strong numbers, but not quite with the market, maybe some cost eaten into the profits, margins. You had FedEx initially spiked to $297, backed off to $280, up to $284. You put FedEx on a daily. Talk about a rocket ship. We had a trade, folks, in my newsletter, Rocket Equities and Options. We basically sold a call spread above the market. I mean, quickly, folks, there is so much positive expectations in so many of these equities, like FedEx, for example, a great company poised for a great future right now with warehouses just shipping products 24/7 in this country. And even when we reopen, the world has changed to a more online delivery, whether you're talking about Dick's, forming a partnership with Instacart to deliver products within 2 hours. But guess what? To trade dramatically higher in this equity, you needed some huge numbers. I didn't think that it was the premium that was priced into this equity, even to the upside. But basically what you do is you sell a 305 call. We bought back a 310 call. What you do is you absorb the premium priced into this equity between 305 and 310. For that, you're the one that risks a loss if this trades up all the way to 310. Nonetheless, though, as we saw, trading down to about 384. We'll see what happens on the open. Sometimes on these earnings, of course, the open, it's a different story. And what else we got going on, folks? It's the last weekend for Tiger Dollars. Larry Pesavento, he's coming up next. I'm going to come back for the 9 o'clock update. Folks, it only takes a couple of minutes. Get in there. Get your Tiger Dollars. Whether you're a subscriber right now, it is so easy, folks. Apply them to your subscription. They're automatically used for all recurring payments. If you're not a subscriber, get those Tiger Dollars. They never expire. They can be used for any newsletter you sign up for in the future, any webinar. You want to go to one of these live trading webinars we got going on, anything you want, folks. You get up to a 40% bonus on your purchase. That sale runs through Sunday on the front page of TFNN.com. Stay tuned, folks. Should be an interesting Friday. We got quad witching. We got S&P adding Tesla. Stay tuned, folks. Larry's coming up next. Be right back.